Apartments in Japan's biggest cities are famously tiny. In places like Tokyo, many people live in spaces smaller than a single bedroom in other countries. Yet somehow these homes remain organized, calm, and surprisingly functional. A shoe cabinet that swallows 40 pairs behind one slim panel, a bed suspended above an entire hidden room. It's tempting to assume this comes down to owning almost nothing, some extreme, disciplined form of minimalism most people could never manage. But many of these homes aren't empty at all. They're simply built around a different question than the one most homes are designed to answer. The real difference isn't how much space these apartments have. It's how deliberately every inch of it was asked to work. Today, we're exploring 9 of the most ingenious Japanese apartment solutions, the specific choices that let some of the world's smallest homes feel unexpectedly open without adding a single extra square foot. And once you see how the first one works, right at the front door, the rest start to make a lot more sense. Genkan shoe cabinets. Walk into an average Western entryway, and the evidence tends to pile up fast. A jumble of sneakers by the door, boots leaning against the wall, someone's sandals from 3 summers ago, still sitting there for no clear reason. In Tokyo, where government housing surveys show many apartments hold an entire life inside just 40 to 65 square meters, that kind of clutter isn't an option, so the Genkan, the small entry area just inside the door, was built to solve it. Behind a single slim panel, angled shelving holds dozens of pairs stacked on a slant, each one tipped just enough to slide in and out without disturbing the rest, all while the cabinet itself stays only a few inches deep. The same shelving logic shows up wherever shoes threaten to become clutter. Narrow cabinets tucked beside stairwells, slim drawers under a bench seat, even a shallow tray built into the floor itself for umbrellas and rain boots. Sometimes a messy entryway isn't a sign you own too many shoes. It's simply that they've never been given a place narrow enough to disappear into. Loft beds. Imagine a bedroom just large enough for a mattress and almost nothing else, no room for a desk, a chair, or anywhere to sit that isn't the bed itself. Many small Japanese apartments solve this by lifting the bed instead of shrinking the room. A loft frame raises the sleeping area a few feet off the ground, and the floor space that opens up underneath becomes something else entirely. A desk, a closet rail, sometimes just enough room to stretch out and read. The same idea scales down for even tighter spaces. A raised platform bed with drawers built into the base turns unused air into storage. A bunk-style frame in a shared room gives 2 people a full room's worth of floor space instead of half each. The room never actually gets any bigger. It just stops asking the floor to do every job by itself. Washer-dryer combos. Where exactly would a second machine even go in an apartment that barely has room for the first one? That's the practical question behind Japan's washer-dryer combo units, a single machine that washes and then dries the same load without anyone moving it. Clothes go in once, the cycle finishes on its own, and there's no second appliance competing for the same few square feet of floor. The same thinking extends to other laundry habits in small apartments. Foldable drying racks that clip onto a balcony railing, slim hangers designed to dry shirts without a rack at all, cycles timed to run overnight so the machine never blocks the kitchen during the day. A cramped laundry setup usually isn't about needing more room. It's about 2 machines trying to share space that was only ever built for one. Slim refrigerators. It seems like common sense that a bigger refrigerator holds more, so a small kitchen should mean less cold storage. There's no way around it. Japanese kitchen design quietly disagrees. Instead of building refrigerators wider, manufacturers build them taller and narrower, engineered to slide into a gap barely wider than the door itself, between a cabinet and a wall, tucked into a corner most kitchens waste entirely. The same taller, not wider logic shows up in dishwashers built to slot under a single counter section and in narrow pantry towers stacked floor to ceiling instead of spread across a countertop. A tight kitchen doesn't always need more square footage. Sometimes it just needs its appliances to grow in a different direction. So far, every idea has solved a fixed problem: shoes, sleep, laundry, food storage, each with its own dedicated fix. But the next few ideas work differently. They don't solve one problem. They solve 2 or 3 at once, simply by asking a single piece of furniture to do more. Dual-use dining table. A dining table in most homes works exactly one job, mealtimes, and sits empty and unused for the other 22 hours of the day. Many Japanese apartments treat that same table as a workstation instead. By morning, it holds a laptop and a cup of coffee. By evening, the same surface is set for dinner, and several designs even extend outward on hidden leaves when extra guests show up, then fold back down the moment the space is needed for something else. And the same double-duty thinking shows up in ottomans that open to reveal storage inside, coffee tables with a hidden compartment under the lid, even a bench seat built with drawers instead of solid wood underneath. Sometimes the answer to a crowded room isn't fewer things in it. It's furniture willing to hold more than one job. Underfloor storage. Picture lifting a section of your own kitchen floor and finding an entire storage room underneath it, one that was there the whole time. In many Japanese homes, that's not imagination. Certain floor panels are built to lift on a hinge, revealing a compartment deep enough for seasonal blankets, spare luggage, or boxes that would otherwise crowd a closet, all sitting directly beneath the floorboards. Close the panel and the storage disappears completely. No visible cabinet, no stack of bins in the corner, just a floor that looks like any other until the moment it's needed. It's a reminder that unused space in a small home isn't always missing. Sometimes it's simply hidden somewhere nobody thought to look, underfoot. Ceiling storage. Most people scan a room for extra storage by looking straight ahead, at the walls, the corners, maybe under the bed, and stop there. Japanese apartments often solve the same problem by looking up instead. Ceiling-mounted racks and ceiling height rails hold bicycles, seasonal items, or a folded futon, using a portion of the room that would otherwise sit empty above eye level. It isn't only about extra room to stash things either. Research from Princeton's Neuroscience Institute has found that visual clutter within a person's direct line of sight can measurably reduce focus, which may be part of why keeping the eye level zone of a room clear, even while storing plenty overhead, tends to make a space feel calmer to be in. A room can hold just as much as before. It simply asks less of the space you actually look at every day. Up to this point, every idea has been about physical space: a cabinet, a bed frame, a floor panel, a ceiling rack. But the last 2 ideas step back from objects entirely and look instead at how a Japanese apartment handles change itself. Sliding doors. How much floor space does a single door actually take up once you count the full arc it needs to swing open? In a small apartment, that answer matters more than it sounds. A standard hinge door needs a clear semicircle of empty floor just to function, space that can never hold a bookshelf, a chair, or anything else. Japanese interiors solve this with sliding doors instead, panels that glide along a track built into the wall, using 0 additional floor space to open or close. The same track-based approach extends to closet doors that disappear sideways instead of swinging outward, and to room dividers that slide shut for privacy, then slide open again to let two small rooms function as one larger one. A door was never just an entrance or an exit. In a small home, it's either wasting space or returning it, depending only on which way it's built to move. Modular furniture. Every idea so far has quietly agreed on one thing. A small apartment doesn't have to choose between comfort and space, because the two were never actually in competition. Modular furniture takes that idea and pushes it as far as it can go. A sofa that unfolds into a bed, a coffee table that lifts and expands into a full dining surface, shelving units built on a track so they can be rearranged the moment a room needs to serve a different purpose entirely. Some Japanese apartments transform completely within minutes, a living room by day, a bedroom by night, using the same square footage for both. It's worth noting research backs up why that kind of order matters beyond simple convenience. A study from Iushi Center on Everyday Lives of Families found that people who described their homes as cluttered showed measurably higher cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, than those who described their homes as calm and organized. None of these 9 apartments got bigger to feel this way. They simply stopped treating space as something fixed and started treating it as something that could adapt to whoever was living inside it. None of these 9 ideas, on their own, looks like much. A slim shoe cabinet, a raised bed, a door that slides instead of swings. Taken one at a time, they're just small, practical choices, the kind that barely seem worth mentioning. But put together across an entryway, a bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, they add up to something bigger than any single fix could. Genkan shoe cabinets, loft beds, washer-dryer combos, slim refrigerators, dual-use dining tables, underfloor storage, ceiling racks, sliding doors, modular furniture. 9 different answers to the same underlying question. Not how to fit more into a home, but how to ask more of the space already there. That may be the real difference between a small apartment that feels cramped and one that simply feels calm, quiet, considered. Which of these 9 ideas would make the biggest difference in your own home? If this gave you a new way to look at a small space, Tidy Japan has more where this came from. Subscribe to see the next one.